You might go a little over that, but we could probably keep it under 20.
Well, like 15's okay. I'd really prefer to not get close to 20.
Like,
We will do our best.
How about
We gotta do
17 and a quarter?
It's too long.
All right.
Too much things.
all right. I'm good
right.
with, so...
Everyone's
whenever
ready?
you want to do the
I'm ready, you
countdown.
guys are. Yep.
Ready.
All right.
Ready
Do
for
my
it.
countdown. Start in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Factorio discussion. I'm Exterminator, and today I am joined by Gepwin, ACryInShame, and Shred Guy.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
And yeah, so this one is actually interesting. Like the last two, I think we can all agree were kind of boring to talk about.
Just a
You
little
mean
bit.
you don't want to talk more about alpha blending and math?
Well, I don't know, not really, to be honest. But this one is quite interesting. It addresses nuclear power as well, and then project Kovrex works on that has nothing to do with Factorio, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, don't lie. You've been watching that Twitch part of the day, haven't you?
No, actually,
Yeah.
gonna be blatantly honest. So, first thing I guess is we can discuss nuclear power.
Indeed.
Um,
And you keep cutting out for me, Exterminator.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too, a little bit.
okay, so they say it's like 90% done, but they remove some parts.
Yeah,
Like
well,
the
I'm
cooling
glad about
towers,
that
they
because
get-
it seemed like it was getting a bit complicated with like 5 buildings that all need to be next to each other and pipes and whatnot. I'm glad they simplified it.
They simplified it, and yet it's still confusing.
Yeah, it's it's still a bit complicated. I did read the post replies, and quite a few people were, as you might imagine, complaining that it's now too simple. All those people were like, we want it 100% real life. Can't remove all this stuff.
Well,
I didn't see the posts.
for sure, people are going to, no matter what, people are going to complain if it's too complicated or if it's not, you're not actually learning how to build a nuclear reactor in your backyard by playing Factorial. So
Yeah,
one way or
Yeah.
not, somebody's going to complain.
Yeah, you're
Well,
not
yeah.
going to make them happy, so make it accessible rather than making the weirdos who play Bob Angels happy.
yeah, Shred.
Hey, I like complicated, but I think you have to
See-
draw for a general audience. I mean, if you like playing the complicated Bobs, Angels, whatever, there's mods for that.
Exactly.
But putting nuclear into it, you have to strike a balance between simple or relatively simple and Bob's Angels. They can't throw in the uranium power mod and
Yeah,
throw that
Yeah.
into here, because I played that and I am playing, and it is
a lot.
way overboard, and I enjoy it. It's fun, but I would not say you put that into vanilla.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And I was
So-
wondering, because this is such a step up in complexity, like how useful is this really going to be next to solar?
Well, and that's the
I was
thing, right?
thinking
Like
that
people,
too.
yeah, people are like, well, great, we have an alternative to solar, but it's like, if it takes an hour to set up one thing and it only produces like 30 megawatts, it's like, I'm just still going to set up solar for all my stuff.
Still
Yeah,
case-
I mean, what does it show here? One reactor running
Like 4 boilers it connects to.
8 boilers?
it's 8 boilers.
Yeah, or 4 boilers and 8 engines.
Right. Now,
Which
keep
is-
in mind, those are Mark II engines. See the different color?
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
adding
that's
Mark
right.
II engines.
That's true.
We don't know what the power generation for those are going to be, but
Yeah, with this, they might really scale down what solar is capable of.
I don't know
I
if
don't
they
think
even
they've
mentioned
addressed it yet.
changing solar, though.
Not that I've noticed, but I haven't carefully combed through every one of these. So.
Yeah, I hope they don't mess with solar. I hope they just give this enough of a buff to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking at the what they call the Carvex enrichment process, and that alone looks a little complicated because you have, ore coming in, then it gets split into two different types of uranium. They have to sort that uranium, and then you have to centrifuge it to create the cells. It's like,
Yeah, that's
lot of
actually
steps.
really cool because it is like the only time we've seen that they're forcing you to use mixed belts.
Right, which I mean, you still don't have to do. I mean,
no, you could.
Well, not exactly, but it's like it's like one thing that's going to be outputting two different types of resources, and I think it's
Yeah.
unless I'm wrong, I think it's the only thing in the game that does that.
Only vanilla,
Mhm.
yeah.
But I mean, overall, like it's definitely complicated. I mean, like you said, Ryan, it's more complicated than most things we have. I mean, I'd say it's, maybe equal to like how complicated blue science might be to people or stuff. But overall, it actually seems pretty straightforward, right? I mean, they like explain here. We've actually kind of like jumped ahead.
Yes.
They're adding a new ore, and you mine it, uranium ore, and then it just says it requires a centrifuge, and it uses 10 ores. So a centrifuge, you need 10 ores to create uranium-238 and uranium-235, and then I guess the 235 one has a really low probability, which I apparently
Yeah.
0.7% probability.
yeah. And then
Get almost none of that.
right,
Yeah,
but then you
you
need to
have to mix
combine
them
the
together.
two. Right. So specifically 5% of uranium-230 needs to be in the mix of the two. So like 95% of it can be 238, and then 5% of it has to be 235. I think is what they're saying, right? To like actually get a usable
Yeah.
product. And then I don't really understand because they're like, there's different ways to handle the problem of the leftover two in real life, but they're like using this Kovarex enrichment process, which
Yeah.
like
Well, I
what does
think
that do?
the-
Like, does it just get rid of it?
I think what they're saying is that the Kovarex enrichment is like that second set of centrifuges in this picture here on the left.
Yeah.
You take
Mhm.
your 238 and you shove it into that, and then it's going to put out a small amount of 235. So it's just a way to further refine it. It's another step that gives you more 235, so you don't have to rely on the 0.7% probability of the other one.
Right. Okay. So
Needs
Yeah,
more
it
balance.
looks like there's some sort of feedback mechanism where they're pulling off stuff, and I'm talking about the build on the left.
Yeah, the left side here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's feeding back.
So this side.
It's then coming back around and then getting put back on, or
Yeah, I would guess that that's the Kovarex enrichment. So it's like the first set of centrifuges is popping out 235 and 238, and then they're filtering off the 238 into the enrichers, which is then popping out some amount of 235 that's being brought back in so that they can get the proper ratio for the fuel,
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
which then
So-
looks like you take the fuel and some steel and it makes some kind of nuclear battery.
yeah, that's what it looks like. What they're making at the very end.
I think that's iron.
And it. Yeah.
Oh, you're right, iron. I don't know why I always say those two wrong when I'm recording.
Now, something
You're not
worth
the only one.
I think we all have done it. Something worth noting too is you'll notice it. You at least for the first process and the very last step, it looks like you are able to productivity it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they do have those modules in
And
there, which is
they're-
pretty
they're
important.
productivitying the heck out of this thing.
I couldn't tell which things they are because color blindness. So
Yeah.
they're just look, modules.
So we scroll down and you put the nuclear fuel stuff into the reactor, which these are placeholders, by the way, for anyone who, for some reason, might think these are the real graphics.
You mean we're not going back to rocket defense?
Yeah. And you connect it to like 4 boilers, which then feeds in and then does something.
This gets a
Yeah,
little,
so
okay,
it's the heat.
So this one
They've
gets a
changed
little
the boilers
complicated.
now for heat, I think. So now
Yeah.
the boilers have a heat input, which is different than the old inputs.
Right, and the
So now
reactor
you have,
generates
like,
the heat.
Heat up a thing,
Yes.
which goes into the boiler. Yeah, in the second picture here, that's what those red pipes are carrying, is just pure heat,
Heat.
apparently.
They're heat. They're basically, they're heat sinks, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says for every
So-
neighbor reactor, there's a 100% energy production bonus with the same usage.
Cool.
So I guess like if you connect them, you get a bonus.
So basically, the way this is working is you have water coming in to each of the boilers, and normally that you would just feed coal into the boilers, but the reactor is replacing that coal need and providing heat for the boilers instead. And then with a little output on the north and south sides of the boilers is where you have your steam coming out, and then the steam will then go to each of the steam engines to then produce power.
Yeah. And you're getting a weird exponential growth of the number of boilers you need compared to the number of reactors you have.
Yeah, I mean, you can see down here with just 4 reactors, it's insanely complex.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think will be cool, because all the, engineer people, the Madzuris and stuff, I mean, there's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be builds like coming up with this for like months and months afterwards, just the most efficient way to do it. It's going to be really cool, I think, to see what
Oh, yeah.
up
It's going to
with.
be awesome. I mean, 10 minutes after this comes out, they're going to have something 20 times more efficient than this picture. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and one thing I was looking at here is looking at the 4 reactors together, and it appears, so if you look at that picture, you're only getting the bonus for 3 of them at any one time. Because only 3 reactors are connected, is that right?
Hmm?
So if you look at each corner,
Yes.
because I was trying to figure out the math on how, I mean, because it's pretty symmetrical, and I was like, because each reactor can do 4 boilers plus another 4 boilers for each reactor it's connected to. So if, for example, you take that lower left-hand corner one and you count how many boilers are in that quadrant,
Yeah,
there's 12.
12. Yeah.
So then 12 times 4, 48. Right? If they're all the same? Is that how
Yeah.
that's working?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
we went
48
4,
total.
We went 4, 16, 48.
Where are you getting this?
So the top one is 4, and then the next one down is 16 with the 2, and then it's 48 with the 4.
So the question is like, so how does this look with, instead of having 4, like in a perfect square, how does it look with 6? And how does that,
Yeah.
it's
well,
not, it wouldn't be quite double, would it?
It says for every neighboring reactor, there's a 100%. So it would mean that each corner is doubling twice, I would assume.
Right.
So, like, it's
Yeah.
getting the thing for each neighboring reactor. So depending on how you aligned them, which is going to be another thing people optimize, you're going to get a maximum amount. So you could get, like, a maximum of times 3, because I assume you seem to need one side open to feed fuel in and out of.
Yeah. Yeah, the diagonal one are not giving a bonus to each other. The diagonal ones.
Right. Well, my
So-
question would be, like, if you made a X as
Mhm.
opposed to a square, so you have one in the center. Because, well, I guess each one, that wouldn't work because each one has the,
Yeah, you wouldn't be
Like
able
you
to
said,
get fuel
yeah.
to the middle. You could
Yeah.
make a T, and then the one in the middle would be getting times 3,
Right.
and
Well,
each other one on the edge would be
it-
getting times
It
2.
really depends on how they connect. If you just have to have like one tile connecting, you can kind of offset them.
Yeah,
And
have
that's
the
true
little-
too.
Yeah, they haven't said anything about how they connect.
Yeah, and like another thing that I'm just thinking, it's like, I mean, boilers, because before you get nuclear, you're obviously still going to have to be able to feed boilers with like, coal or whatever, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm thinking is, what advantage are you going to have with nuclear? Like, it seems pretty expensive and complicated to set up. It's like, why would I not just do coal or solid fuel like I normally do anyway. Like, I mean, I know it like generates the heat in place of it, but it's like you have to refine all this fuel. You know, it's a complicated setup. It's like, so what advantage am I really gaining from that over just fueling the boilers like normal?
Yeah. I was saying the same
I
thing.
think
It
we're
depends
gonna
on
have to
how much power is
see
being
how they
created.
rebalance the power, or if they rebalance the power.
I mean, if this last one with the 4 reactors there, if that like completely powers my entire base, then you know what? I'll do it.
Yeah,
That's true.
And that's
Well,
the
yeah,
thing. I
but-
mean, why do you jump to solar to begin with? Because you don't have to go mine coal. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
eventually,
But
when
now
your
you have
when
to
your
mine
base
uranium.
gets,
Yeah,
Yeah, but when
and
you-
do a complicated process.
but is that a, like, I look at it, you build a mega base and you have so many solar fields. It's just
Yeah.
so massive, and when your base gets big enough, it's like, well, it's nothing to build. To have the bots, you just lay down, Mark III solar fields forever, and it's just a matter of, I got to do this now. I'm low on power again. Okay, let me go blueprint down 10 more solar fields.
Yeah,
Robots
I
take
think
care of
that's
it.
the real question: is how many, like this like 2x2 factory thing at the bottom, reactor at the bottom. It's like if that takes up as much power as a like giant solar field, then it's worth it just for the space efficiency.
Right.
So
But
I
the
think
other
it's
thing-
really just a question of how much power these things actually pump out.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing to consider is the lag too, right? For a mega base, right? Because solar panels and accumulators, they changed it a while ago to where pretty much every solar panel and accumulator, like on your map or that's connecting, counts as one entity.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas
There's no
Steam
no
engines
lag.
and boilers and stuff like that do not. So, and I don't think they're going to change the boilers and steam engines to be that way because I don't think they can. So
Yeah.
it's like, whatever, 10 or 20 of these things, depending on how much power they output, sure, it'll be way more space efficient than solar, but it may just lag out your game like steam engines do now if you have enough of them.
See, that's what I was worried about as well when I was reading through this. And if you look at the Discord earlier, I had mentioned that idea of like, now time to discuss how much this is going to lag out our games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Now, I'm actually more excited about this as like a stepping stone thing, because they're introducing a new resource and they're introducing new processes, which means that they're going to be able to put in more things down the line. I know like every third comment on any of these nuclear things is, when do we get depleted uranium ammo?
yeah. Well, and the thing is it will probably make it so people can mod a ton of new stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, make uranium ammo without having to use like a uranium mod on top of it.
I just
Now-
want my frickin' mini nuke. Like I've been
Yeah.
saying it since the day I started taking on biter bases. Is I want a thing that I shoot into the biter base and it's gone. I don't care how many resources that takes. I'm just get so tired of taking out biter bases.
One of the things that
Yeah.
I thought of, because before now, the only liquids they really had like in like use was water and oil. But now when they're adding steam as a whole nother thing, and I don't know whether they implemented it as a liquid or if they actually did it as a gas. Because if they did it as a gas, that might open up a whole new ballpark of things that we can add.
Yeah,
That's
it
true.
Seems to be a liquid in this.
It does.
Yeah.
Steam guns. Hook this up
Steam
to your
guns.
flamethrowers, and then it just steams the biters, and then it turns into food, and you get like cooked biter
biter
breaded
meats.
steaks.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I'm just looking for. I hope
Place the
this is
fish.
just something interesting to do, and a lot more space efficient than just laying down massive solar fields. And I mean, assuming it won't lag out your game that they've.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
because there's
Yeah.
no point if you need a bajillion of these, as
And that's-
opposed to a bajillion solar panels.
yeah,
That's
I mean, like,
probably the reason for the updated steam engines.
yeah, well, they're adding a second level, and that, it depends how much they generate. If they only generate 2 times what a normal one generates, it's actually not going to help that much because a huge amount of them to generate like 3 gigawatts of power.
Yeah.
I was looking at this for a second here, and I was wondering if, like, so, assuming that you just need to connect them so at least a tile is touching, right? You could get, what, 2, 4, 6 of them to connect to a centerpiece?
Yeah, in theory.
If that's, in theory, like, if that would be the case, that could be a massive amount of power if that is how the connection works.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I would like something like the last picture down here, like you're putting 4 of them. So maybe one, let's say there's 4. I would like that to take the place of like 25,000
Solar panels.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it would almost have to.
Because in my mega base, I think I was getting close to 100,000 or something like that solar panels, and it's just like, because it's not a function of cost anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about cost of solar panels. I just need power, and it's boring laying down the 100,000th solar panel. So
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully this takes. It's not about conserving resources. It's I need more power to run my mega base because we got infinite science. So give me something to do that, and I can mess around with optimizations and farting around with all that and ratios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, moving on, because we're like
Speaking of infinite science.
speaking of infinite science, this is something mining productivity research. So essentially, they're adding a research that is infinite. It says it's infinite, and every level adds 2% bonus productivity to mined resources in general. Like just like passively, your miners will have that bonus, right? So I saw a lot of complaints on the forum.
Really?
I saw a lot. Well, not a lot. I saw several
Why?
complaints about this because some people were like, well, I disagree with this because I don't like productivity modules to begin with, and I don't think it fits in the game. And now you're adding a research to do it infinitely, blah blah blah. But like, personally, I'm super excited about this.
Hell
Like,
yes, less
I know.
outposts.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Yeah.
like huge. I love this because it's honestly kind of a pain to put productivity modules in like every single miner, even if you have robots. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
have to bring them out there. You have to stand there while they put them in, and it's like it's just a pain and stuff. And it uses modules, and then when you tear it up, you have to take them all out again and stuff like that. But with this, it's like, you research this and you can do it infinitely. It's like, your miners
Yeah.
are just automatically going to have
And
whatever
it's not like
20%
it's
productivity.
that game-breaking of a bonus. Like I just did the math probably wrong, but you'd have to get to like level 500 of this before you double your output
Yeah.
with the 2%
Right.
bonus.
And the other thing, right, is it's fixing another issue which a huge amount of people complain about is having to constantly move your mines. And it's like, that fixes it a bit because if
Yeah.
your miners are just automatically getting productivity, you won't have.
Well, I mean, assuming you can still put productivity modules in these.
Yeah, you could even like.
I mean,
more.
you're still getting.
Well, now you could
Yeah,
put.
it means less outposts.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
now, even with these productivities, now instead of putting productivity modules, you can put speed modules because after a certain percentage, they might actually be a better choice.
Yep.
Yeah,
good
or
point.
even
Yep.
efficiency if you're having power issues or whatever. And another thing to consider is they just say a 2% bonus, right? Like when
Yeah.
you put productivity modules in, it slows it down. But
That's
if you're
true.
getting this research based on what they're saying, it has no negative effect aside from just the research cost. So it's like your miners aren't going to be any slower than they are normally. They're just going to get that passive productivity, which is like huge.
Yeah,
And also-
I think this is the thing they've been talking about for ages of giving you a way to like tap more resources as you play,
Yeah.
because you get your electric miner 10 minutes in, and that's your only mining upgrade for the whole game.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed here is it notes the price increase is linear, so the rate of return increases as well because the rate of return is based on percentage, where the actual price is linear. So at one point, it actually, that 2% starts arcing upwards in, like, if you're looking at a mathematical graph.
Which is interesting.
Do
And
you think that it's like a cumulative 2%, like it's 2% on top, or they just add 2% to the percentage that it's like bringing out?
I think it's adding 2%. Like, the first one will be 2, the next one will be 4, then it's 6, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a
to
cumulative.
whatever the miner is doing.
That makes more sense. It's just not
Yeah.
completely clear.
And I mean, looking at this, it's actually not that expensive. A level 32 only requires 3,200 packs, which, I mean,
Of all
to a-
5 kinds of science.
all 5, but still, I mean, I guess to a lot of
Why
people
would you,
that's a
why would you
lot.
need
But I mean,
military science in that, though? Doesn't make sense.
yeah, no military. But still, at
Yeah.
level 32, if each one's giving you 2%, you're getting 64%
Yeah.
productivity at this level. It's like, I will gladly pay 32 packs for that. I mean, obviously you have like the other researches before it, but still, I mean, this seems like almost too cheap. I mean,
Well, I mean, you still got your robots that you're upgrading, right? Because we're going to get infinite like speed, or they keep getting faster, right, or something like that. The robots.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do
you're
they?
going to be
that
up.
seems like a problem.
Well, I don't know if it's linearly they keep getting, but I mean, you can't get. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to see them flying across if they got.
Eventually,
I mean,
you get quantum entangled robots.
Yeah,
Can-
but you get they're going to get fast. I mean, you're going to have a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces here at the same time, where you're upgrading your robots, you're upgrading now miners and how
Yeah.
much they can carry,
Your
and so it's like
your damage is going to be the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
well, maybe that's what it was. Damage. It's not. I thought.
Because you remember how all the upgrades for bullet damage and fire damage? They're going to be infinite as well.
Well, they're adding
That's
infinite
what I was-
robot speed and stuff too, but they're making it not linear. I think it's like, well, the cost is like
exponential?
exponential or something.
Okay.
Hmm.
Like
Well,
it
that makes
gets
sense.
insanely expensive to the point where it's like, I mean, it just
Yeah.
isn't worth it
And
at a
I
point.
don't think we've seen finalized things on what any of this science will cost now. Anyway, like I think they
Yeah.
reduced they just announced like reducing how complicated blue science is.
Yeah,
But we
and they
don't know
like
about the
gave
other
like
ones.
prototype recipes for the new packs, but
They
you
never
know,
talk about it since.
I don't know if that's going to be what it actually is.
One thing that I think that they should add, maybe as a research, maybe as an item or whatever, but robots need a faster recharge time. Like, seriously need a faster recharge time.
Yeah, that's kind of the bottleneck when you get too
Yeah.
many robots.
Or maybe
Yeah.
just have it so they don't need to charge. They're just
Now
all solar
that-
powered. All solar
That
powered.
could be an interesting one, though. You could have one where you base some of your things like charge times on how much excess energy your factory has, which would mean that if the nuclear power is so much more efficient, it would give you more excess energy, and then you could just pump more into your robots faster.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
It's like, zap, you're good, go away.
Yep.
So we're at like freaking like 27 minutes. We really need to end this. I'm sorry. I know my viewers don't really discussion videos, so I'm sorry, but I think it was a good discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
just last, they're looking for an OSX game developer. If you happen to be one, go check that out.
Unless you want to discuss
StarCraft.
BWAI, StarCraft. I have no idea what this was even talking about.
Yeah, this is like a side project by Kovrex that he's been working on for years, and it's like bots like play each other in the game, like the AI, and
Yeah.
they stream it, which
Yeah.
could be cool. I might check
It's
it
kind
out.
of fun to watch, but it did
Yeah.
remind me that they said they might be putting some controls in later on to let your robots go out and take on biters by themselves.
That would be
Which I really
fantastic. But yeah,
Give it
I mean,
some
I think we
Johnny
need to end it in a 30-minute discussion here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, everyone.
So, yeah, I think that'll do it. We'd love to hear in the comments.
I lost him.
Then congratulations and thank you. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It should be pretty interesting. And until next video, we will catch you all later.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Grind Shame signing out. Hey, if you like that video, go ahead and check out these other videos showing up on your screen now. Or click on the center button right there to subscribe to us. Otherwise, you can always check out our Patreon page and see if you'd like to help us out by supporting us through Patreon. Otherwise, like I said, so long, guys.